By the way, Red Sea, the Houthis, same thing. Iran, Iranian-aligned militia groups. So much of this is tied to Gaza. And I think it underscores why it's clearly in the strategic interests of Israel as well to effectively bring this to a close.
Hello everybody, so I'm back to this beautiful location in my allotment growing all those vegetables. I've just spent few hours just getting rid of all the weeds. As you can see, you have on one hand you have carrots and coriander. On the other hand you have green peas. Behind me you can see plenty of potatoes, French beans, green peas again, radish, spinach and fennel and whatnot, and many more. Anyway, so this is where I relax, as I have said in my previous videos. I'm back here. Today I am going to talk about a news that I came across, that one of the key seaports of Israel is about to go bust, and that is Eilat port. Eilat, as you know, Israel has about a dozen ports. Eilat is the southernmost port on the Red Sea. And how do we know that it is going through a significant financial crisis? Is because the CEO of the port has told the Israeli parliament, Knesset, that the Israeli government desperately needs to bail out by announcing a significant financial package. Otherwise, the port will go bust, because there has been zero financial activities in the last 8 months. Because of the action taken by Houthi militias in Yemen and like-minded people in Iraq, who have been targeting this particular port for the last 8 months to avenge the genocidal campaign launched by Israel in Gaza. As we know, more than 40,000 innocent people, unarmed people, including 70% women, children and babies, have been brutally murdered by Israel's rogue regime in the last 8 months, backed by America, arms supplied by America, also supported by United Kingdom, EU, Canada, in the beginning Australia. All these countries have been complicit in Israel's genocidal campaign in Gaza. These two bodies, Ansarullah, which translates as helpers of Allah in Yemen, and other faction, other militant group in Iraq, have been continuously and routinely targeting this particular port, Eilat port. Now, why is Eilat port important? Eilat port is important because Israel imports a significant chunk of its automobiles, vehicles from Southeast Asia through this port. This particular port also has one of the largest storage facilities for fuels. Therefore, it's very significant development if if the CEO of this port is saying that this port is about to go bust. In March this year, and a Canadian journalist and lawyer visited this port, and he posted a long video on YouTube. You can see on the screen, and he showed he said he could not see a single cargo ship out there. He also went about looking for financial activities on the port, and he saw, lots of the shops were closed. Although he admitted that he wasn't able to compare, what he saw with how those markets looked in the past. But nonetheless, he said it was quite a surprising development for him, despite the fact that this port happens to be one of the busiest and strategically very important for Israel. So what it means is that even though Israel has been backed by the most powerful countries in the world in its genocidal campaign in Gaza, a small bunch of people in Yemen and Iraq have brought Israel to its knees. That's quite significant. And you could see how significant this is, because even American Secretary of State, the warmonger Secretary of State Antony Blinken, not too long ago admitted for the first time that Yemenis or Houthis' action against Western interests and Israeli interests in Red Sea was directly linked to the conflict in Gaza. He said that, and in the same vein, he also said that Hezbollah did not want war.
One of our primary objectives from day one, since October, was to do everything we could to make sure that this conflict didn't spread, didn't escalate, including and notably to the north, to Lebanon, to Hezbollah, and then maybe beyond. And so this too is a place of intense focus. And I think you have a paradox in this moment, which is that, at least in our judgment, none of the main actors actually want a war. Israel doesn't want a war, although they may well be prepared to engage in one if necessary from their perspective, protect their interests, but they don't want one. I don't believe Hezbollah actually wants a war. Lebanon certainly doesn't want a war because it would be the leading victim in such a war. And I don't believe that Iran wants a war, in part because it wants to make sure that Hezbollah is not destroyed and that it can hold on to Hezbollah as a card if it needs it, if it ever gets into a direct conflict with Israel. So on the one hand, no one actually wants a war. On the other hand, you have forces, momentum, that may be leading in that direction, and which we are determined to try to arrest. You have, as you said, Suzanne, 60,000 or so Israelis who've been forced from their homes in northern Israel. Israel has effectively lost sovereignty in the northern quadrant of its country because people don't feel safe to go to their homes. You have many Lebanese in southern Lebanon who've also been chased from their homes. And absent doing something about the insecurity, people won't have the confidence to go back. And that requires two things. It requires, first and foremost, of course, stopping the firing across the border that's endangering people, but it also requires an agreement, reached through diplomacy, to try to deal with some of the elements that are causing this ongoing insecurity, including making sure that forces, for example, are pulled back so that they can't endanger people every single day and that people have the confidence to proceed. Here again, the United States has been deeply engaged in trying to advance this diplomacy, but it also underscores why a ceasefire in Gaza is so critical. Hezbollah, of course, has tied what it's doing to the situation in Gaza and has said that if there's a ceasefire in Gaza, it will stop firing in Israel. Now, it shouldn't be firing to begin with. It's wrong in and of itself, but it's also a reality. So it only underscores why getting that ceasefire could also be critical to further enabling the diplomacy to try to create conditions in which the diplomacy can really resolve this problem, get people back to their homes in Israel, in southern Lebanon, and have something that's more enduring in terms of keeping things calm. By the way, Red Sea, the Houthis, same thing. Iran, Iranian-aligned militia groups. So much of this is tied to Gaza, and I think it underscores why it's clearly in the strategic interests of Israel as well to effectively bring this to a close.
So I think everybody is just realizing that you may claim on paper that you have one of the most powerful armies and you have Iron Dome and everything. All those claims we have seen have been punctured one after the other in this conflict. Iranian retaliatory strike showed just how inefficient and how incompetent this Iron Dome was, and now a small bunch of people in Yemen and a small not so well-known group of militias in Iraq have brought Israel to its knees, as we know that one of its key ports is about to go bust. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.